Thesis. The relationship between religion and science go hand in hand in understanding God's creation rather than go against each other. Support 1. An excerpt from the article, quote, making choices in the absence of sufficient data. But you make these choices in expectation that things will turn out well. That's faith. Sometimes expectation is going to be shattered, but you go ahead anyway. What else you can do? End quote. For support 2, quote, science is where I get to spend time with the Creator. When God invites me to encounter Him in the things that they have been made, as St. Paul puts it in their letter to the Romans, God is setting up a game we play together. It is a game that on top of everything else, He tells me He loves me. End quote. Support 3, quote, one trait of God I find that is that He always gives us plausible deniability. Every time you see His action in the universe, you can always come up with some way to explain it if you want to. It could just be a coincidence or an illusion. You can never know for sure. That, of course, is why we need faith. End quote. For my personal example 1, from the supporting point, I can say, as an example, if we are to bake a cake using different ingredients from the usual recipe, and it would somehow tasted better than the original, this is an example on how we still do things, despite knowing it could have gone wrong. Example 2, for me, I see science as a complicated thing to understand, and there are times I enjoy it, especially when I get to solve them or do it right. For the author too, they also see it as a puzzle that God gives them. And through those puzzles, we connect ourselves with God. Example 3, before, I used to believe that science disproves the use of for religion, and that it shouldn't exist. But after this subject and reading the article, I can say that science cannot disprove the importance of faith. Personal insight. Insight 1, the expert describes faith as something we believe in despite knowing that there is a chance it would not work out or how you expected it. That shows that even with us using science, there are things we don't take into account, and that faith is there to cover its doubts. Insight 2, that I got the excerpt is that the author views science as a way to connect with God, and that through science it's God's way of saying that He cares for us through His creations they study. Insight 3, if we people all relied solely on science and have no faith, we would not be doing great risk for the things we believe in, and because of our lack of faith, we would be living in fear in science. In conclusion, there's a great importance of having both religion and science together, and that through science we are able to connect ourselves with God's creations.